The city hummed a busy tune, and Luke was right in the middle of it, a blur of motion on his bicycle. Rain or shine, he pedaled through streets and alleys, a big insulated bag strapped to his back. His job was to deliver yummy food to hungry people, and he did it with a smile, even when his legs ached. Every turn of his wheels, every quick stop was for one special person, his son Leo. Leo was 7 years old, with bright, curious eyes and a laugh that sounded like little bells. He was Luke's whole world. After a long day of zipping around, Luke would hurry home, eager to hear about Leo's day at school. They lived in a cozy little house, small but full of love. Luke worked hard, not just because he had to, but because he wanted to give Leo the best life he could. His delivery bike wasn't just a way to earn money. It was a symbol of his tireless dedication, a silent promise to his son. After tucking Leo into bed with a story and a hug, Luke's day wasn't quite over. While most people settled down for a quiet evening, Luke headed to his small garage out back. It was a tight space, smelling faintly of oil and rubber, filled with tools and parts. This wasn't a place for rest, it was his second workshop, a place where magic happened. Under the soft glow of a single hanging light bulb, Luke would begin his evening ritual. He carefully pulled out old, broken bicycles he'd found discarded on the side of the road, or sometimes left for trash. Some were missing pedals, others had rusty chains or flat tires. To most, they looked like junk ready for the dump, but Luke saw something different. He saw a challenge, a puzzle, and a chance to make something new again. He'd grab a wrench, a screwdriver, or a can of grease and get to work, humming a quiet tune as he tinkered. Luke didn't fix these bikes to sell them or to gain fame. His heart held a simpler, purer reason. He knew there were many kids in their neighborhood who dreamed of having a bike, a shiny set of wheels to ride with friends, but whose families couldn't afford one. He'd seen their longing glances at other children zipping by. He remembered a time when he was a boy and how much a bike meant to him: freedom, adventure, and pure joy. So, as he tightened a bolt or shined a handlebar, he imagined a child's happy face. Each repaired bike was a tiny seed of hope, a chance for a kid to feel that wind in their hair, to explore their world, and to just be a kid. It wasn't about money or thanks. It was about spreading a little bit of happiness, one pedal at a time. He believed every child deserved the simple fun of riding a bike. The next part of Luke's quiet mission was to deliver these newly fixed bikes without anyone knowing it was him. Often late at night, when the streetlights cast long shadows and most everyone was asleep, Luke would carefully wheel a freshly painted bike to a child's doorstep. He'd lean it gently against the porch, maybe with a little note that simply said, "Enjoy your ride." Then, like a silent helper, he'd slip away, leaving behind a wonderful surprise for the morning. People would wake up and find a shiny new bike, sometimes wondering where it came from. Kids would shriek with delight, and parents would scratch their heads, amazed by the mystery gift. No one ever saw Luke. He didn't want thanks or attention. The happy squeals of children riding their new bikes were all the reward he needed, even if he only heard them from a distance during his delivery routes. His secret acts of kindness continued, weaving a quiet thread of wonder through the neighborhood. A few blocks away, a new person had moved into the neighborhood. Her name was Clara, and her apartment window looked right out onto the backyards, including Luke's small garage. Clara was an artist, and she often stayed up late, sketching or painting. One evening, as she worked, she noticed a light flickering in the garage across the way. At first, she didn't think much of it. But night after night, the light was there. She saw a man, sometimes just a shadow, working diligently. She watched as he brought in old, rusty bikes, and over time saw them leave looking shiny and new. She didn't know who he was or why he was doing it, but she saw the care he put into each task. Clara started to pay closer attention, piecing together the puzzle of the mystery bikes appearing on doorsteps. She began to connect the dots between the man in the garage and the happy squeals of children in the mornings. A deep sense of admiration started to grow in her heart for this quiet, kind stranger. The more Clara watched, the more she wanted to meet the man with the big heart. It was a cold evening with a crisp wind blowing, and she saw him still working in his garage, the light a warm beacon in the dark. He had been out delivering food all day, and now he was back to fixing bikes. He must be tired, she thought. Clara decided then and there that she would talk to him. She brewed a fresh pot of coffee, pouring a steaming cup into a thermos and grabbed another mug. Taking a deep breath, she walked across her yard and then up the path to his garage. The smell of oil and paint grew stronger as she got closer. She hesitated for a moment, then gently knocked on the open garage door frame. "Hello," she called out softly, her voice a little shy but warm. She held the thermos and mug, a small offering on a chilly night. Luke jumped, startled, dropping a wrench with a clatter. He turned, his face smudged with grease, looking surprised to see Clara standing there. "Oh, hello," he mumbled, a little shy, quickly wiping his hands on a rag. He wasn't used to people seeing him in his bike workshop mode, especially not a pretty stranger. Clara smiled warmly. "I'm Clara, your new neighbor," she said, holding out the mug. "I saw you were still working and it's quite cold out. Thought you might like some coffee." "Oh, that—" Luke's eyes widened slightly, then a small, grateful smile touched his lips. "Coffee? That's really kind of you, Clara, thank you." He took the mug, his fingers brushing hers for a moment. "I'm Luke." He gestured around his messy garage. "It's, my little project space." "I've noticed," Clara replied, her gaze soft. "It looks like a very special project." Her warm, friendly way made Luke feel a little less shy, a little more at ease. He took a sip of the hot coffee, feeling its warmth spread through him. It was the first time anyone had acknowledged his late-night work, and it felt surprisingly good. After that first warm cup of coffee, Clara started visiting Luke's garage more often. She never just watched, she offered to help. One evening, Luke was trying to loosen a very stubborn, rusty bolt. "Need a stronger wrench?" Clara asked, having learned a bit about tools from her dad. She disappeared for a moment and came back with a big, sturdy wrench from her own small toolbox. It worked like a charm. Another time, Luke was looking for a specific type of pedal for a small bike. Clara remembered seeing an old bike frame tossed behind an antique shop she liked to visit. "I could check there tomorrow," she offered. The next day she returned, triumphantly holding up a pair of perfect little pedals. Luke was so grateful, his shy smile growing wider each time she helped. Clara wasn't just bringing coffee anymore, she was bringing solutions, her helpful spirit shining brightly in the dusty garage. She found joy in helping him bring these bikes back to life, becoming an unexpected, welcome assistant in his quiet mission. As weeks turned into months, Luke and Clara's shared evenings in the garage became. Their shared evenings in the garage became a special time. Luke, usually quiet, found himself sharing stories about his day, about Leo, and about the little triumphs of fixing a tough bike. Clara, in turn, talked about her art, her ideas, and her own life. They laughed at silly jokes, sometimes covered in grease, sometimes sipping tea as they admired a freshly painted frame. Their friendship blossomed naturally, like a sturdy plant in good soil. They discovered they both loved old movies and cooking simple, tasty meals. The garage, once a solitary workspace, now felt warm and full of comfortable chatter, a place where two kind hearts found common ground and growing affection. Clara wasn't just a friend to Luke, she quickly became a wonderful friend to Leo, too. When Luke was out delivering food, Clara would sometimes pop over and play a quick game with Leo, or help him with a tricky drawing for school. She even joined them for dinner sometimes, turning their quiet evenings into lively ones. Leo loved her stories about art and her funny jokes. He started calling her Auntie Clara, a name that warmed Luke's heart more than he let on. Clara brought a bright, happy energy into their home, making it feel even more full of love. She'd help Leo with his math homework, patiently explaining numbers, or they'd spend an hour coloring bright pictures together. Her presence made their small family feel bigger and brighter. While Luke, Clara, and Leo were busy building their own happy little world, the neighborhood slowly began to notice something special happening. More and more often, bright, colorful bikes appeared on doorsteps. Kids who had only walked or played in their yards were now zipping around, their laughter echoing down the street. At first, people just thought it was a nice thing, maybe a secret Santa. But when it kept happening and different kids got bikes, people started to talk. "Did you see little Maya's new red bike? It's beautiful," one mom would say. "And Tommy got a blue one last week," another would reply. They wondered who was doing such kind things. Folks would gather on porches, trying to guess the identity of the generous person. There were many guesses, but no one ever thought of the quiet delivery biker who worked late in his small garage. The mystery deepened, but so did the joy in the neighborhood. One evening, after Clara had helped Leo finish his dinosaur drawing and Luke had tucked him into bed, they found themselves sitting on the small porch swing outside. The night air was cool, and crickets chirped a sleepy song. They talked about the day, about a tricky wheel Luke had fixed, and a new painting Clara was starting. As they talked, their hands, both busy during the day, found a moment of rest. Luke looked at Clara, really looked at her, and saw not just a good friend, but someone who understood him without him needing to say much. Clara, feeling his gaze, looked back. She saw the kind lines around his eyes, the gentle strength in his hands, and the warmth of his smile. It was more than just friendship, she realized. Her heart gave a little flutter, like a bird taking flight. Luke felt it too, a quiet warmth spreading through him. He reached out and gently took her hand, his thumbs softly brushing over hers. No words were needed. In that simple touch, under the soft glow of the porch light, they both knew their hearts were ready for a new kind of journey together. After that special night on the porch, Luke and Clara started spending time together that wasn't just in the garage. Their first date was a quiet dinner at Luke's house after Leo was sound asleep. Luke cooked his best spaghetti, and Clara brought a homemade apple pie. They talked for hours, sharing dreams and hopes, feeling closer than ever. The next day, Luke took Clara for a walk through the park, pushing an empty stroller just in case Leo wanted to join next time, he joked. They walked hand in hand, comfortable and happy, like they had known each other forever. They watched the sun set, painting the sky with colors, and Luke felt a joy he hadn't known in a long time. Clara felt it too, a gentle happiness that filled her heart. It was clear their friendship had grown into something deeper, something truly special. They were building a new kind of family, brick by loving brick. The neighborhood truly came alive with the sound of happy children. Everywhere you looked, kids were riding bikes. Little Maya zoomed past on her red bike, her pigtails flying. Tommy raced his friend down the sidewalk on his blue one, shouting with glee. The park, once a quiet spot, now buzzed with the energy of spinning wheels and joyful shouts. Parents smiled, watching their children enjoy the simple freedom of a bike ride. These bikes brought more than just fun, they brought people together. Kids who hadn't known each other before were now playing together, sharing their bike adventures. Families gathered at the park to watch, chatting and laughing. It was as if a little spark had been lit, making the whole neighborhood feel friendlier and more connected. The mystery of the bikes was still a topic of happy chatter, but the biggest gift was the joy and community spirit they created. The secret of the bikes couldn't stay hidden forever. One sunny afternoon, the neighborhood held a small summer picnic in the park, a happy gathering where kids rode their bikes and adults chatted. Luke and Clara were there with Leo, enjoying the food and laughter. Suddenly, little Maya, the girl with the red bike, spotted Luke. Her eyes lit up. She bravely pedaled over to him, stopping right in front. "Mister." "Luke," she said, her voice clear and bright. "Thank you for my bike, it's the best present ever." She beamed up at him. Luke froze, his cheeks turning a little red. He looked at Clara, then at the surprised faces of the other parents. Leo, who knew his dad's secret, just giggled. Another little boy, Tommy, chimed in, "You fixed my blue bike too. My dad said it was broken forever, but you made it new." Slowly, murmurs of understanding rippled through the crowd. The mystery was solved. Luke, the quiet delivery biker, was the kind person behind all the bikes. People began to smile, then clap. Luke, shy but touched, could only offer a small wave, his heart full. After the picnic, Luke no longer worked alone in his garage. Now, Clara was often right there beside him, not just helping, but actively planning. They talked about which kids might need a bike next and where to find old parts. The community, once simply wondering, now supported them. Sometimes, neighbors would drop off old bikes they no longer needed, knowing they would find a new life. Luke and Clara, now a loving couple, continued their work, but with even more joy because they shared it. They held hands more often, their smiles brighter, their hearts fuller. Leo, happy to have Clara as part of their family, often helped in the garage, handing tools to his dad and Auntie Clara. Their home was filled with love, laughter, and the gentle clinking of tools. Every repaired bike was a symbol of their kindness, a thread connecting them to the community they loved. Together, Luke, Clara, and Leo were a happy family, spreading joy, one bike at a time, making their corner of the world a little brighter.